June 18, 1815. The fields of Waterloo lie drenched in rain. A grey dawn breaks over Belgium, and history holds its breath. Tens of thousands of soldiers stand ready. But one man watches the horizon from horseback. The Emperor of France, Napoleon Bonaparte. For nearly 20 years, he has conquered Europe through brilliance and sheer force of will. But by nightfall, his empire and his destiny will crumble into mud and blood. This is the story of how the world's greatest commander, Napoleon, lost everything. Not because of fate, but because of himself. He was born a soldier of fortune, a Corsican outsider who rose through revolution. By 30, he was Emperor of France. By 40, he ruled most of Europe. He was the architect of modern warfare, the master of movement, speed, and precision. At Austerlitz, his armies shattered coalitions twice their size. At Jena, he broke pressure in days. Even his enemies called him a genius. But the line between genius and arrogance is thin, and time has a way of dulling even the sharpest blade. In 1812, Napoleon made the one mistake no empire survives. He overreached. Marching 500,000 men into Russia, he expected swift victory. But what he found was winter, starvation, and death. Out of 600,000 soldiers, fewer than 50,000 returned. His dream of invincibility was shattered. Exiled once to Elba, he escaped and returned to France like a ghost of war, reclaiming his throne in just 100 days. Europe trembled again. But this time, the gods of war would not stand with him. Next is Waterloo, a small Belgian village, soon to become the graveyard of an empire. Facing him, the Duke of Wellington, calm, calculated, unbreakable, and Field Marshal Blücher, old, fierce, and relentless. Napoleon's plan was bold. Strike fast, divide his enemies, destroy them before they unite. But dawn brought rain, torrential, unending. The ground turned to sludge. Artillery sank. Horses stumbled. But Napoleon waited for the field to dry. He delayed, for hours. And in those hours, fate turned against him. These three mistakes sealed Napoleon's fate. The first, he underestimated his enemy. He believed Wellington to be cautious, predictable, defensive. But Wellington was a master of terrain, his troops hidden behind ridges and farm walls, forcing the French to fight uphill through mud and musket fire. The second, he ignored the Prussians. Napoleon assumed Marshal Grouchy would hold them back. But Grouchy hesitated, marching away from the sound of guns. By afternoon, Blücher's army was already closing in. Still, Napoleon believed he could crush the British before they arrived. But he was wrong. The third, he trusted his legend. At dusk, he sent in the Imperial Guard, his undefeated elite. They advanced through cannon smoke, steady, fearless, until a wall of British muskets met them head-on. Volley after volley tore through their ranks. The Guard faltered. Then, for the first time in history, they fell. Cries echoed through the chaos, "La Garde recule." The Guard is retreating. And with those words, his empire dissolved. By nightfall, the battlefield was a sea of bodies. Mud, blood, smoke, and silence. Napoleon's army was gone. His empire, shattered. He fled to Paris, hoping to rally support. But the people who once worshipped him now saw a fallen man. The myth stripped away. He abdicated once more. And on a lonely British ship, he surrendered his sword. Exile again, this time to Saint Helena, a remote island in the middle of the South Atlantic. There, surrounded by endless ocean, he spent his final years writing, remembering, and regretting. He once said, "I should have died at Waterloo." When the guns fell silent, Europe was forever changed. The age of Napoleon was over. But his story, his rise, his genius, his fall, would echo through history. Waterloo was Napoleon's greatest battle and his greatest mistake, the day when glory met its end.